Okay, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. So, Francis Ngannou has done the unthinkable. Yes, Francis Ngannou is now the PFL heavyweight MMA champion of the world, also making him the undisputed, yes, undisputed. I know some of you guys ain't gonna like this, but he is undisputed, the undisputed heavyweight MMA lineal champion of the world. Right, let's get into it. Anthony Joshua knocked out Francis Ngannou in Riyadh season. Just previously before that, Francis Ngannou went 10 rounds with the Gypsy King Tyson Fury. So he was making a mark for himself in boxing. All in the meanwhile, in the background, Francis Ngannou was signed to the PFL, Professional Fight League. They are taking over in the world of MMA right now. So be warned, right? I watched the PFL card last night. After it finished, I switched over to the UFC, and the UFC didn't seem that great to me. The promotion just seemed like it stood still for a few years, man. As soon as we put it onto the Apex, you know, they were in fighting in the Apex. There was no buzz to it or nothing, man. I didn't even feel like watching. I would just switch off and go to bed. But going back to Francis Ngannou now, look. The heavyweight division in the UFC is a shambles right now. It's in disarray, right? The young lion in Tom Aspinall has taken the interim belt after beating the Russian wrecking machine, Sergei Pavlovich. He then went on to defend his interim belt. This is unheard of now. This only happens when the UFC has a favorite or they're protecting their champion. The interim champion then goes on to defend his belt, which is not supposed to happen in the UFC, okay? He went on to defend against Curtis Blades. But he beat Curtis Blades, knocked him out within the first round. Still calling for a John Jones fight, but John Jones wants to fight old man Stipe Miocic. No disrespect to Stipe, but he hasn't fought for 4 years, and the last time he fought, he got starched in the second round by Francis Ngannou. Did I say Francis Ngannou? Right. Francis Ngannou is coming. If you look at his resume now, his MMA resume, he has 5 first-round knockouts, right? 4 of them were former champions. He knocked out Stipe in the second round of their bout 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago. John wants to fight Stipe to fulfill his legacy for some reason. I don't understand why. Nobody understands why, but he will not fight Tom Aspinall. So now the debate is going on. The debate is going on all over social media. Francis Ngannou, lineal heavyweight champion. A lot of people saying, forget about John Jones. They'd love to see a fight between Francis Ngannou and Tom Aspinall, right? So I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments, man. But the way that I see it, Francis Ngannou is the lineal heavyweight champion. He never lost his belt over at the UFC, and the UFC have not got their act together. The heavyweight division is in disarray. Francis Ngannou knocked out five of the top heavyweights. There's no one else. Even if Francis was to go back now, there's not much people for him to fight. He's knocked them all out, right? And now he's knocked out Renan Ferrer. So it doesn't take much maths to work this out that Francis Ngannou is a lineal heavyweight champion of the world, MMA. So he is the baddest man on the planet, MMA-wise. Is he going to go back into boxing for a couple of fights? We don't know. He had a bit of a emotional, there's a bit of emotions that were flowing after the fight, due to the passing of his son, Kobe, who he dedicated his fight to. But they speak of Deontay Wilder in boxing at the moment. There's not much people for him to fight at the PFL. I mean, Francis Ngannou stands alone. Stands the king of the castle. Stands alone. And the UFC fanboys and the John Jones fanboys, Dana White fanboys, they're seething. They just can't handle this. They just cannot handle it. A lot of them were tuning in, like curtain watching, hoping that Francis would lose. But Francis racks up another first round KO. Francis Ngannou has to be the most dangerous man on the planet right now. In fact, if he was to drag Anthony Joshua into the octagon, he'll destroy him. I'm sure a lot of you know that. Even though Anthony Joshua did beat him in the squared circle, in the octagon, Francis is house. Anyway, UFC fanboys, you can cry into your pillows tonight, or to, I don't know, whatever it may be. But I will say something. The UFC is on a slide. they've just been hit with a massive lawsuit. I might do a video on that. $375 million they've had to pay out for unscrupulous dealings in the UFC. Shady dealings, cloak and dagger, smoke and mirror dealings. Right, a lot of these fighters are now suing the UFC, and the UFC have admitted it. So they've had to come out and pay out. And they're keeping it hush as well. A lot of you guys don't know about it. It's all to do with fighter pay. The UFC pay peanuts. They don't pay their fighters hardly anything. And what they do is they trap them into long-term contracts. Why do you think Conor McGregor hasn't fought for so long? Why do you think he's sitting on the sidelines? He's got 2 fights left on his contract, and the UFC do not want him to leave. So what they're doing is tying him up, making him wait, making him sit out, and aging him out before he can go anywhere, so he ain't worth anything. If Conor McGregor gets out of his UFC contract, he goes straight over to Riyadh with Turki Al-Sheikh and he sorts out a boxing match. You hear they were talking about the likes of Terence Crawford recently. Terence Crawford's called out Conor McGregor, but that ain't going to happen unless the UFC get involved, because the UFC own Conor McGregor, and that's what it is. Anyway, enough said. Smash the like button, hit the bell for notifications to get all the new and latest videos.